Hi, my name's Debbie and I'm the host of the You Matter Self-Care Summit for Working Mums. And today we have Sonya Wilkins, and she is from Bristol Reiki Healing Arts. And her talk today is going to be energy management and personal boundaries. So great to have you on, Sonya, and thanks very much. And I'll let you take it away.
Lovely, thanks Debbie, and thank you Debbie for joining us and all those others who are going to be joining as well this morning. So I've got you for 40 minutes, but I'll aim to wrap up before that so there's time for questions. So yes, welcome to Energy Management for Working Mums. And this is all about how to set personal boundaries and maintain your vital energy. So actually this is so essential for everyday life, for everyone actually. But particularly for working mums, because they're doing a lot and you're juggling a lot of roles. So the first thing I really want to share with you is to go into really what energy is. So energy is all around us. As you're probably already aware, science says that energy can't be destroyed, it can only be transformed in actual fact. So if we were to look at our hands through a powerful microscope, you would actually see that your hand is pretty much invisible, because we're all made up of carbon, different elements, atoms and molecules bound together by bonds, which is all about energy, all different types of energy. So everything really is invisible to a certain degree. What's so lovely is in our daily lives, one example of where we see energy in its different frequencies and waves, if you like, is when we see a rainbow. So that is an example where energy is being split, and that's the light coming through droplets of water in the air. And then we get to see all the different frequencies of energy as colour. So that's a really nice example for us to remember that actually energy is all around us. And in terms of personal energy, our energy is represented by our aura. So what we can do is imagine that our aura stretches out to about as far as we can stretch our arms. For some people, it could be wider than that. And this is where we hold our personal energy field. And maybe think of some of the times where you walk into a room of people and certain individuals stand out to you because they're really charismatic. I'm sure we've all got friends that are like that. And this is probably because their aura, their vital energy is really bold, but it's healthy as well. So they've managed to maintain their energy really well. So it's full, it's vital, it's vibrant. But somebody that might be going through stressful times in their lives may have a much more shrunk aura. So our aura can expand and it can shrink depending on how we emotionally feel. So our auras are very much affected by internal things going on in our minds and our emotions, and also external things. So the environment and where we put ourselves in, what situations we put ourselves in, who we spend our time with. So this is a lot what I'm going to be going into in a moment, because it really does affect our aura and our vital energy. So our aura is maintained and produced and sustained by our chakra system. So I don't know if any of you have heard about your chakras before, but this is talked a lot about in yoga. And so we have 7 main chakras in our body. And the system is very much like a map, an energetic map of the body as well. So I printed off this map here, which I'll show you in a moment. But first of all, I'm just going to show you a slide about the chakra system. So as you can see, you have 7 main chakras going from the root of the body up to your crown. And the one we're going to focus on today is the solar plexus. So this is actually positioned in the kind of center of the body, just below the it's kind of on top of where your stomach is, so where your rib cage splits. So it's about here, if you can see, I've just adjusted the screen there. So this is where your solar plexus is. And this is important because in the body, this is where a lot of the nerve endings collect together. And so when we put healing in this area, we can allow that healing to spread to the rest of the body because it's near the aorta and a lot of the nerve endings in the body. So the solar plexus is a really important chakra. They're all really important, but for the purpose of body management, energy management and maintenance, it's really important to know where the solar plexus is. So going back to the chakra diagram, the slide that we have here, chakra means wheel in Sanskrit. So they're very much like rotating vortices, if you like. So energy from the external world comes in and it goes out of the chakra and it feeds the body and it feeds our aura. So they are like distribution centers. So what I'm going to do now is show you a picture I printed off of the UK. And the reason I'm going to do this is it's interesting analogy, because what I like to think of is, if you imagine you as a person, you are like the UK, the country here. So your aura is a bit like the outer edge of the coastline. Okay, so energy will come in, a bit like shipments will come in to the country and meet this border on the outside. But inside the country, you've got cities and villages, which I've circled. I don't know if you can see in the biro. So obviously like Bristol, London, Glasgow, Leeds, York, all these places. And they are like the chakras. So they are like mini distribution centers. So if you imagine in the country, in your person, you have these chakras, which are like cities or villages, and they have distribution centers in them, a bit like warehouses, where the energy comes in as a package and it's then decided where it's going to be sent in the country along the roads and the highways. And those roads and highways are like meridian lines in the body. So it's quite a nice analogy to use that. So going back to the chakra slides, just to reiterate that. So what we're talking about here is each chakra is like a city or a village, and energy comes in from the outside world and our internal thoughts as well, and then it's distributed to the organs of the body. So as you can see, the chakras are positioned in certain areas of the body. So the root governs a lot of the sexual organs and the bladder and the lower abdomen and intestines and all of those organs at the lower half of the body, also the hips and the ligaments down there. So if energy isn't flowing well in those areas, there can be a blockage, and that's where dis-ease can then set in. But for today, we're going to focus on the solar plexus, which is more to do with the upper stomach and upper intestines and the diaphragm. So we're going to talk about how we can use this in terms of looking after our vital energy, because this is like the front door to our house. The other analogy I like to use is that imagine you are a castle and you've got this wonderful big wooden door that you can let down, and people can walk across the moat and you can say, yes, come into my castle. Or you can pull up the drawbridge and say, no, actually, I don't want you coming into my castle. So this is where we can start to think about personal boundary setting. So the solar plexus is the front door to your aura, your chakra system, and your personal energy. Okay, so that's the first really important point to understand. This is why in martial arts they use the solar plexus a lot to push energy forward when they're doing those moves, a bit like in the Karate Kid film, with those movements. They breathe through the solar plexus and put that energy outwards. So the solar plexus is used as a power source in martial arts as well. So it's up to you as working mums to decide, where are you going to put your energy? Who are you going to let in the front door of your castle? Or who are you going to turn away? Nicely, there's ways of doing it, but who are you going to turn away? You need to be thinking about these relationships, both within your home, with your partner, with your children, sister, brother, your parents, but also in a work placement, all the relationships we have in our lives. So as I mentioned before in the map of the UK, we also have these meridian lines which connect the cities, the chakras, and they are important because that is how the energy is distributed into the body. So this slide here is showing you a really nice diagram of how that's represented. So you can see it's really quite a complex system, and obviously it's really important that those meridian lines are clear, because then the energy flows really well, and then it can get into your aura, and then your aura will expand and be beautiful and vital, and then that's when you will walk in a room and light the room up, and people will say, wow, hasn't that person got great charisma, a great energy, they lift the room. So this talk is all about this awareness of your energy, where it is in your body, how it's maintained, and then how you can make decisions to keep your own personal vital energy flowing and clear. So obviously many of us have, all of us have different stresses in our lives. So the key is to be aware about when that's affecting your personal energy. We can do lots of things to unblock stagnancy in the meridian lines or the chakras. For example, acupuncture uses meridian lines, crystal therapy, you can place stones on the chakras. But at the end of the day, all those modalities are great, but your personal awareness is the first thing to get right, and where you're going to be putting your relationships and the energy in your relationships. So don't worry if you do get dis-ease in your body. I like to split that word from disease. It's because your body's actually being kind to you. We always think, oh, why am I ill? You know, that's a bad thing. But it's not. It's actually your body signaling to you that there is a blockage in either the meridian lines, the chakra, the aura, a thought process, a mental attitude, or an emotion. So use that and be inquisitive and curious about it, so you can then peel it apart and unblock it. So that was just something I wanted to slip in there. Don't think of disease as a bad thing. It's your body signaling to you that something needs to be cleared. Okay, so where do you direct your vital energy in your life? So what we're going to think about now is start to think about the analogy of emotional bank accounts. I love this because all of us have a bank account. We put money into the bank account, we put credits in, but we also take money out when we need it. So this analogy is lovely because all the time in our lives, all the different relationships we have, the different interactions, whether we're at home with the children, whether we're working mum and we're popping into the office or working from home, we have all of these interactions, both physically and online now, because we're all doing a lot more online. And all the time, it's an assessment of how well balanced is your solar plexus, your front door to your castle. Are you making those good decisions about who you're letting in or out, and where you're placing your energy? Now, we can all relate, I think, to having a friend in our social circle who we love to see and we love dearly, but maybe when we see them, we come away feeling quite drained. This is an example of where some people suck our vital energy, and there may be a good reason for it, and we may be quite happy for them to do that for a bit. It's a bit like we agree an overdraft facility with the bank manager in a way. But the important thing is that you come away and you recharge yourself, that you're consciously aware you might be giving out your energy and being, thoughtful and giving in that, but you need to draw a line and be aware of when you're doing it and how much you're going to continue doing that. Come away, recharge yourself. Maybe it's taking a bath, having a nap, having an early night, reading a book, going for a run, cooking, lots of different things for different people. But you need to be aware that you need to recharge. So yes, we can agree an overdraft with our bank manager, but we still need to be aware of where we're putting our energy. You do need to pay back the money eventually. So it's all about agreeing your own personal limits here. Okay, and watching whether your money stack is really going down or whether it's nice and healthy. Because then once you're aware of that, you're able to keep your vital energy at a really lovely optimum level. And that means that your body is fully prepared to heal itself. When we sleep at night, our body uses our vital energy to heal. And we need to give it the best chance possible, because then we won't have so much disease. Okay, so in order to live a really healthy, optimum life, one of the things that you need to do is start to think about where you're putting your energy in the different situations. I've got a nice slide here of a typical kind of meeting, if you like, in a work environment that working mums might find themselves in, going back into the workplace. I'm going to open up the option, if you'd like to use the chat facility, you're very welcome to answer this question. So I was going to ask, who do you think is making credits and who do you think is making any debits in this scenario? The more I looked at this picture, I thought it was really quite interesting, because what we've got going on here is the lady in the middle with the blonde hair looking quite focused, forthright in what she's talking about. But the individuals around have got some quite different looks on their faces, different expressions. So yeah, which people do you think are making debits? So they're actually not boosting their vital energy, and they may be leaking energy or draining their energy in that scenario. I'll talk through a little bit about maybe my perspective. If you do want to chip in, feel free on the chat. So I think personally, of course it's all perspective, but the person in the black jumper at the back is looking a little bit unsure. So there may be a little bit of a personal boundary situation going on for him. I'm not sure that he's actually getting credits at the moment. He might be using debits. Interesting, the lady half off of the page, who is smiling and looking down at the lady in the middle with the dark hair, you could think, oh, she's fine, she's positive. I'm not sure she is. I think she's rescuing the situation. I think she's wanting to appease the lady in the middle. So this is where, the more you think about it, the more you can get into the subtleties of your interactions. So a lot of us, me included, have a tendency to want to harmonize situations with people. I don't like conflict, and I grew up wanting to rescue people. So when I became a therapist, this was something I needed to work on, because I can't rescue people. I can offer my experience and knowledge and skills, but I can't rescue people. I need to empower people to heal themselves, and that's why I'm here. So her there, I think possibly there could be some rescuing going on. So rescuing is another way that you can drain your vital energy. The guy with the glasses and the checked shirt, not too sure. I think he looks like he's having a bit of a daydream, maybe zoning out or feeling quite nervous actually. So I think there's some debits going on. The lady wearing the black cardigan in the back, she's looking at the camera. She seems okay actually. I think she's quite neutral. I think she's kind of quite grounded in her energy. And the lady in the foreground with the checked shirt who's talking to the lady in the middle, they seem to be having a fairly equal conversation. So you can see how when you start to look at something, you really get an idea of the dynamics going on in energy. So what you need to do is think about, where would I be in that situation? And just start thinking about your interactions, maybe on the school run, or even with going to shops or seeing friends or family partners, parents. What are your interactions with those people? At the end of the day, you need to decide who and what you're saying yes and no to. So this is quite tricky and it takes practice. But when I was learning to do this better, what I started to practice, which I think is one of the essential tools I can offer you in this talk today, notice when you get this sinking feeling inside. So if somebody asks you, maybe they interrupt you on the school run and you're in the rush with the kids and they say, oh, can you do this for me? I really need help with this. And immediately you feel that you should help them. But try and check in. And if you get that sinking feeling lower down, that is a really good indication. And actually you'll notice the sinking feeling is actually where I showed the solar plexuses on the body. So lower down here again, just tilting the camera. So if you get the sinking feeling here, that is showing that your solar plexus isn't very happy, okay? Notice that, be aware of it, and instead of answering, okay, because you're at risk at this moment of putting in and taking out debits of your vital energy and giving it to that other person, pause and say, great, that sounds great, thank you. Look, what I really need is just some time to reflect on that and get back to you, so I'll let you know later on today. Everyone, I don't know many people that would have a problem with you just asking for a little bit of time. So that is the key thing here. take time out to reflect within when you're posed with that situation, when somebody is asking something of you and you're not sure. I'm a huge reflector, so I need that time. I need that time to come back and check in and think, how do my solar plexus feel? Okay, so that is the key thing here. That's one of the key tools you can use. It's so simple, but it's so important. The next thing to do is I would really suggest you get a piece of paper and some coloured pens and you write down all of the roles that you as a working mum have. And you will be amazed at how many they are. This was my interpretation, but there were many more. I put down influencer, that's an interesting one, but often all of us are influencers in our lives. Obviously, there's the role of influencer on Instagram now and in the tech world. But, you know, all of us are influencers on some level. You might be an owner of your own business. You're certainly going to be a mum if you're listening to this summit. You might be a sister. You might be a colleague at work. You might be a manager. You might be a director. You might be in charge of other people. You'll certainly have friends of some sort. You might be a daughter. You might have parents still and be a daughter in that role. And that role never really finishes, even if your parents aren't here with us anymore. And a partner. So you may be married or just living with somebody. So all of those roles are so important. And these are the places where you could be giving out your vital energy to. So I would suggest that you spend some time thinking about the plus or minus in all of those roles. Is it in general? Now, obviously, every day is different with different interactions. If you think of yourself interacting with your parents or your partner, from one day to the next, it's going to change. But take an overall view of that relationship and write down a number and a plus or a minus. So some of these relationships might be minus. You might decide that whenever I see that friend or that colleague, I'm debiting, I'm leaking energy. Or you might have a role where you always feel great and you gain from it because that person is actually boosting you. And it's actually a two-way, positive, dynamic relationship. So I would really encourage you after this talk to sit down or spend some quiet time if you can. Somebody can look after the children for you and have a real think about all of those roles. You would be amazed at how many there are. Okay, so what can we do with that? What can we do with all of this knowledge I've given you? I want you to get some tools that you can use. So this is really important now. This is something that you can do every morning to protect the vital energy that you do have. However much that is on a scale of 1 to 10, it might be 5 or it might be 8. But what I'd like you to learn is how to, first of all, protect the energy that you do have so your body can heal itself and kind of protect it from bleeding out any further. You still need to look at those roles and the interactions you're having, but at least protect what vital energy you do have. So we're going to tilt the screen a little bit at phases of this because I'll show you where my hands are going to be. First thing, ground your energy. Lots of ways you can do this, but in the morning, the way I do this is I stand by my window just before I'm going to cleanse my face and I take some breaths because when you slow your breath down, it allows more healing to come into your body. Take some breaths and imagine, close your eyes and imagine you are creating cords from the bottom of your feet down through the floor of the house, down through the rock strata, the earth, into the core of Mother Earth. And then fuse that cord to a wonderful molten core in the middle or a big boulder or wrap it around the boulder. And you can give this cord a colour. Typically it would be red or orange because your root chakra is red and your sacral chakra is orange. So it's really great to use those two cords, and you could also use the solar plexus as well, yellow cord. So you could have a red, orange and yellow cord coming down from your feet into the earth, through the earth, all the different layers and colours of earth and rock, and wrap it around a boulder in the centre of the earth. And use your breath to do that several times. So that's a wonderful grounding technique that grounds your energy. If you're grounded, you're more likely to be able to work through the other chakras efficiently and effectively for the rest of the day, and also tap into inspiration. Many people want to get to the inspiration and connection with spiritual realms and not be grounded, and that's not a helpful thing to do because you'll spin out of control. Grounding is so important. A few other things you can do: you can take your shoes and socks off and go and walk in the garden barefoot or at the park. Wonderful to ground. That's why we all feel so much better on holiday, because we walk on the beach barefoot. Simple. You can also garden. Gardening is great for grounding. Cooking, you can eat root vegetable soup. Anything that's made in the ground, root vegetables, is great for grounding. Any art activity is really good for you. Running, hiking, all of these things will ground you. But in the morning, just do that visualization with the cords. The next thing is center your energy and protect your energy. Now, I'd like you to follow me now if you can, and you can obviously listen to this recording again afterwards, but this is a wonderful technique. If you want to put your fingertips together in this shape here, and in the middle of your chest, you have your thymus gland. So it's really good to tap in the middle of your chest. You might want to do this now with me. This encourages your thymus gland to produce white blood cells, the fighter white blood cells. So really good for lockdown and COVID-19 at the moment. So do this with your breath. I'm going to be talking, but if you can, breathe while you're doing these positions deeply and through your heart and chakra, your chest. Tap. What I want you to do is take a breath in. As you breathe out, draw a spiral and bring it out to about the size of a saucer on your chest. Okay? And we're going to do that 3 times. Tap in the middle, breathe in. Breathe out and draw your spiral. Now what I want you to do, because this is centering your energy, I want you to imagine a colour that you need today, right now. Not a colour that's your favourite colour, but ask your body, what colour do I need today to support my vital energy? And I want you to imagine that you have a pen or paintbrush in your fingertips. And we're going to do it one more time. And as you draw the spiral, you're going to imagine that colour. So breathe in. Breathe out, spiral, with the colour. With the colour. Imagine that spiral of colour. Now I'm drawing anti-clockwise as I imagine a clock facing me. So it's going to be reversed for you. You'll find that there is one way that will feel better for you. Trust your instincts, which way you do the spiral, and use that colour. Now when you get to that outer edge of the colour, that outer edge of that saucer size is actually the outer edge of your aura. So next time you do it and you draw the colour, imagine that you're now reinforcing that colour in your aura, the outer edge, that coastline of the UK. So I'll do it one more time. Breathe out and spiral. Colour, spiral to the edge, and now reinforce that colour around the edge several times. Now, as you're doing this now, just think about, is there an area of that outer edge of your aura that is weak? So for me, it's always a little bit on the right-hand side. And what I do is I imagine that I'm plastering over, like literally putting a plaster on a wound, more of that colour. I'm reinforcing that colour. So you might find there are little holes in your aura, weak areas, reinforced with that colour. And you can put sparkles in if you like as well. Now it's such a great exercise because I notice every morning the colour I need is different. And I believe this is related to the chakras. Your body is speaking to you about which energy centers require reinforcement. So please do this, it's just wonderful. The next thing, so what we've done, we've grounded with the cords, we've centered our energy using the spiral, and we've protected with color. So I invite you to do this every morning if you can. I actually do it, link it to an existing habit, whether it's brushing my teeth, I do it before or after, or cleansing my face, or before I make the bed. So it's good if you can link it to an existing habit, because if you do that, you are more likely to sustain this vital energy with your discipline. And it does require discipline. This doesn't come easy, but once you get that habit, and I think they say it takes about 30 days to install a habit, it will become regular. And then you will be able to maintain this for life. And what I want to offer you in this talk is real tools for you to maintain your vital energy, as well as think about how you can have better boundary setting with your interaction of others. A final thing that I want to show you, which actually comes from Reiki training, and I'm a Reiki master. Everyone can do Reiki. Reiki stands for Universal Life Force Energy. It's a Japanese healing art form. It's not airy-fairy. It's not weird and wacky. It's not dangerous. Universal life force energy is the energy that is in every aura of every living thing. And I believe inanimate objects as well. Tables, chairs, everything is made up of these atoms and molecules again, like our hands. So everyone can do Reiki. When we're Reiki trained, we are given sacred symbols, which means that we are allowing the Reiki energy to flow more readily through us, like a straw that allows water to be sucked up through it from the glass. But everyone can still do some Reiki. So if you feel you have lost your vital energy during a day, maybe you forgot to protect and center your energy with the spiral, I invite you to do this self-healing exercise. Put your one hand on your solar plexus again, which is where I showed you last time. So just here, where your ribcage splits. Put your other hand in the center of your chest. This is your heart chakra. So not where your heart is, the center. This is the self-healing position for Reiki in Reiki level 1. Now, when I went through a very difficult transition in my life years and years ago, and I divorced from my husband, I would go to sleep at night in this position because often I would have things going around in my head and I couldn't switch off. I honestly, from my heart, swear to you, I couldn't have got through that transition in my life without this self-healing position. I would eventually fall asleep in this position. And what it does, it encourages more universal life force energy, vital energy to flow into your body, through your heart and your hands, into your solar plexus, where the nerve endings are. And it will help to heal you. It will harmonize your energy, help to clear blocked energy, and it will bring calm to you. Why do you think it is that when you watch next time you're with some friends, and if they're talking about an emotional story, they do this? Very often people do that. Why is it that when we hurt ourselves, the first thing we do is we touch the cut or the wound? It's because there are chakras in the palms of our hands and also in our heart chakra, and we're connecting energy. Okay, universal life force energy. So that is my other offering to you, the self-healing technique. I do really hope that this has been a useful talk. I'm going to start rounding off now because I want to open up the opportunity for you to ask any questions via the live chat, or I think Debbie is able to mute and unmute if you do have any questions. So maybe wave your hand at Debbie if you do want to ask anything. But before we go into the questions, just want to thank you again. I love sharing this information with people. It does come deeply from my heart. And I believe I am here as a therapist to help people heal. I'm not here to rescue and be an emotional crutch for people. I say this to all my clients. They come to me in Bristol and I say, I'm here to impart knowledge and tools so you can learn to literally heal yourself and take responsibility for your own life and vital energy. What I've been doing, I've been busy in lockdown because I've been putting all of this in a new course. And it's the first module in a series of 3 courses. It's now available on Udemy, and I'm offering this at a reduced price for this summit. So you can see here on the slide, it's called Ignite Your Healing Power, or Ignite Your Healing Potential. And in that course, it's over 4 hours of material. And it goes into much more detail about the chakras, how you can use crystals to help heal you, the law of attraction, heart coherence, quantum field theory. So you can put all of that together into what is a wonderful toolkit for life. They really should teach this to children at school. Self-healing, vital energy management, it is so key. And it does come from my heart because I really believe these things can make a difference to people. So please do take up the opportunity of this reduced price. It's until the 8th of June. And also I invite you to share this with any of your friends, people, other therapists, people might be interested, because I'm really happy for them to have the discount at the moment. It also really helps me because, to be totally transparent with you, Udemy is such a busy site now, it's really hard to get visibility on there. So it will really help me to have more students enroll, and also I'd love to hear your feedback, and if you can do reviews, that's wonderful. So please do enjoy that offer. But if you do have any questions, I'd be really happy to hear from you. I think we've got a few minutes left. So yeah, if you do have any questions, Debbie, I can see you're still there. So I'm glad you've been watching all along. You know, these are really, really interesting tools for life, and I've certainly benefited hugely from them. It does take discipline. I have my morning routine where I do the spiral and I do the grounding and I do a number of other things. And what's lovely is as life goes on, you can incorporate different things into that routine. I do a bit of yoga and a bit of stretching to incorporate the physicality of stretching as well as the energy management and intention setting as well. So what's a lovely thing to do is incorporate mantras, things that you intend and you want for your life ahead. You can use imagery. Sometimes I have a little montage photograph on my phone where I collage together things that I want in my life, that I aspire to. And I did a collage. It was quite fun doing some artwork, sticking things down, pictures out of magazines, and then I took a photo of that and I've got it on my phone. So in the mornings when I'm doing my makeup, I have it propped up on my phone. So I look at the things that I aspire to. And that's part of the law of attraction, which I talk more about in my course. So it's a lot of people know about the law of attraction because of the film called The Secret, and that's really great to watch, and the book The Secret, but a lot of people don't understand why it doesn't work. So I really break that down in my course into bite-sized chunks. There's 7 golden nuggets, I call them. So yeah, it's an interesting topic and something you can incorporate into your morning routine. So thank you so much. It's been really lovely sharing this all with you. And as I say, please do spread the word and share any of this and watch the recording again, share the recording with friends, and you can have a look at my website, email me, ask any questions, and I look forward to hearing from you. So thank you, Debbie. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you, Sonya.